Social media is both a blessing and a curse. It has allowed us to connect with friends across the globe and with our close-knit circle. It has given us access to vast amounts of research on topics we normally would not learn about. It has given us times of joy and laughter, and it has opened the door to our minds to be creative and innovative in our jobs and hobbies. Although social media has advanced our ways of communication, the economy, and overall technology, we are often blind to the dangers and negative impacts social media has on our society. Social media has become a serious yet invisible social justice issue. In fact, over the past 20 years, social scientists have found data that specifically relate to how social media has had a major role in teen depression, anxiety, stress, and addiction, which has incessantly plagued Generation Z. As a member of Generation Z, I've experienced all of these feelings before, and I've witnessed them among my friends as well. I've seen firsthand the addiction social media creates and how the concept of likes, comments, and followers take the lead in maintaining this cycle of addiction. We even treat social media like it's a full-time job, clocking in about 5 to 7 hours per day. And we've become so addicted that we treat social media like a slot machine, so that every time we refresh our social media pages, it's like we get this rush, this shot of dopamine. In researching the dangers about social media, there were two excellent documentaries that I watched that helped me view social media in this way: The Social Dilemma and Childhood 2.0. A quote that stood out to me was that one of the greatest consequences of screen time addiction was the lack of social development, social skills, and being able to connect to other people. It makes sense because our generation was the first to start using social media in middle school, when our brains are in their prime time of developing and when we are most prone to insecurities and the need to fit in. Since all our friends were online, and this is how we made our community, we became more cautious in talking to adults or even taking the lead in a conversation. Quote, "We are training and conditioning a whole new generation of people that when we are uncomfortable or lonely or uncertain or afraid, we have a digital pacifier for ourselves that is kind of atrophying our own ability to deal with that." Besides depression, stress, anxiety, and addiction, teens and young adults in our generation are also facing other societal problems such as suicidal thoughts, body image insecurities, cyberbullying, free access to pornography, decreased attention spans, sleep deprivation, less motivation to get their license or a job, and FOMO, which is the fear of missing out. All because of our use of social media. These are real issues women are struggling with currently, and our mental and physical health is deteriorating at alarming rates because of our use of social media. The U.S. hospital admissions for non-fatal self-harm cases per 100,000 girls since 2009 was up 166% for girls ages 10 to 14 and up 60% for girls ages 15 to 19. The U.S. suicide death rates per 1 million girls between 2001 to 2010 went up 151% for girls ages 10 to 14 and up 70% for girls ages 15 to 19. These facts are pretty remarkable, yet startling because they are closely related to the invention of social media. This means self-harm and suicide rates among women jumped around the same time MySpace, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram were created and were becoming increasingly popular. However, this correlation isn't that surprising because ever since the creation of social media, women have reported feeling more left out. We are constantly comparing ourselves to either our friends or models. We are held to higher, unattainable, and unnatural beauty standards. We are more stressed and anxious about how others perceive ourselves and our image on social media. And we even sexualize ourselves to get more likes and compete with one another to get more likes, comments, and followers because we believe that's where our value and purpose comes from. Quote, "We curate our lives around this perceived sense of perfection because we get rewarded with these short-term signals of likes, comments, and followers, and we conflate that with truth and value. It really is fake, brittle popularity, and it leaves you feeling more vacant and empty. No wonder women are feeling more anxious, stressed, fragile, and depressed. We have allowed ourselves to be concerned with what hundreds to thousands of people think about us every 5 minutes, and this is not what we are created to be." In order to see how social media negatively affects women of Generation Z, I decided to interview 12 women from my community from various backgrounds. Unfortunately, I had technical difficulties and only 5 of the interviews were recovered. This is what they said.
I was in the 9th grade when I was allowed to have social media.
When I was 13.
13 years old when I started using it.
Probably like 11 or 12.
When I was 9.
I use 7 different types of social media.
Instagram.
So
Instagram.
Instagram,
Pinterest.
Twitter,
Snapchat,
Facebook,
TikTok, YouTube.
On social media, I usually post friends and family.
Really just my daily life.
Promote my music to post covers,
life updates,
Just places that I travel,
things I'd be doing.
Pictures of myself,
sports,
food,
social justice issues,
social issues.
politics.
My favorite thing about social media is that you can keep up with your friends.
It's also a platform to bring people together and to find small communities.
To keep in touch with my friends.
I can see what my friends are doing, stay connected with them.
What I like about social media is just the community that it's built.
To be vocal about things that matter to me and that are important to me.
I don't think I would have figured out that I was gay as soon as I did if it wasn't for my friends on social media who I met who were in the community.
I think it would be a lot harder to celebrate the small victories without social media.
On average, I spend about 6 hours on social media a day.
3 to 4 hours a day.
I spend 8 hours and 29 minutes.
5 hours a day.
2 hours and 36 minutes daily. The latest I've ever stayed up with the social media is probably 1 a.m.
Probably around 2 a.m.
6 a.m.
6 a.m. one time.
6 or 7 in the morning.
I check my phone multiple times throughout the day.
Unconsciously, I pull out my phone and open an app, and then I'm like, why am I on the app? I just checked it 10 minutes ago, and I end up closing it.
I find myself going on whenever I get a notification, actually.
I do check my phone pretty often during the day, I think out of habit.
I'm opening it for no purpose, just out of habit.
If like I just worked on something for a very long time, I'll reward myself with being able to go on social media.
Since I don't have notifications, I feel more of an urge to check so I could see then like how many likes or comments I got.
So many girls would talk about like how many comments they got or who liked their picture.
If a post didn't do well, then I would take it down.
I think I've definitely gotten insecure about something I've posted before and I've like archived it.
It does feel good to get a lot of likes and comments. I think anybody can agree with that.
Yeah, sometimes it can be very personal where it's like, oh, I put a lot of work into this. Why isn't this blowing up?
I have definitely felt left out through posts on social media.
I have major like fear of missing out.
I have felt left out before because of seeing something on social media, and it doesn't feel good. I don't think that being left out in general feels good.
If I'm feeling like I'm missing out on things and then I go to social media and see things that I wish I had, that escalates my emotions.
I'd see they all hung out and like did this or that, and then I wasn't invited.
Seeing all your friends going out, and then you're like, hey, like, why did I get invited?
Why did they do that? Why did they leave me out?
Even seeing people you don't know going cool places and you're like, dang, I wish that was me.
What you see on social media isn't necessarily the reality of what's going on.
I remember being in like 8th grade and seeing girls that would post pictures of themselves, like mirror selfies, and you would see like the wall behind them would like warp.
Social media is very temporary, and it's like a facade that people can put on and try to make them seem like their best selves.
Not everybody's their true self on social media.
And they, took time to take that photo 50 million times until they got the exact same one. And it looked effortless, but it's not.
I only highlight the best parts of my life on social media, but I don't talk about the lows that I have.
So when you're sitting there in your pajamas and no makeup and your hair a mess and you see someone all done up on social media, of course, you're going to feel pretty bad.
Instead of like, praising my friends and being happy for what they're doing, how they looked, their accomplishments, instead I was sort of judging them because that made me feel bad about myself.
Absolutely. I've compared myself to other people on social media, and the last time was like an hour ago.
I have compared myself to someone on social media before.
I have compared myself to so many people on social media.
I actually used to compare myself a lot to a certain person on social media.
My thought immediately goes to, why can't I look like that? Why don't I look like that? How do I become that?
As a musician, I'm always comparing myself to them, being like, wow, that was so cool. I wish I could do that. Well, I can if I take 50 tries to do it.
As far as beauty standards are concerned, Social media definitely raises the bar.
People really trying to look skinnier or taller,
We like white girls, we like tall girls, we like skinny girls.
Perfect skin,
perfect makeup,
Big lips,
bigger lips,
long dark eyelashes,
perfect hair.
small nose.
perfect tan, and that perfect glow.
Standards are so high.
They really don't care about what you have to say, as long as you have a good face, good outfit, good body.
There's a certain standard of I have to have a C-size boob cup and huge butt, but a super thin waist and a thigh gap.
It breaks my heart just seeing that these young girls are looking up to brands that they like, but they're not able to see themselves being represented on their social media page.
You can never meet those standards since they're always changing.
Beauty standards that influence women and kind of shame their bodies.
Like, I started creating eating disorders where I wouldn't eat, or I would overeat sometimes because I was just like, I need to be perfect.
And I'd weigh myself all the time, and it really developed bad behavior, but it's because I saw these people on social media who were so skinny and so beautiful that I wanted to look like them.
In high school, I definitely had really irregular eating habits.
I saw all these girls being size zeros, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not a size 0. I need to be a size 0.
It is very hard when everybody's trying to be like each other, and it just reinforces these beauty standards and just these impossible ideals.
You're always trying to change yourself to what's new, what's trendy.
The idea that white women want to be Black is actually a huge one.
People trying to be Black.
Whether that's now cornrows are cool or a do-rag is popular to wear.
It's because of social media. A lot of women want to get dreads or like tight corn rolls.
Cultural appropriation being shown on social media and making that normal.
They think it's more a trend rather than someone's culture.
There's a lot of people that are racist and small-minded on social media.
All the time, I see different races being attacked, but my race has definitely been attacked before on social media.
Yes, I have felt that racial prejudice.
I've never had a personal attack on my race or my ethnicity on social media. My race and ethnicity as a whole, I would say, has.
As a white person who doesn't experience racism, I can only give an outside perspective.
There's two parts to racism and hate on social media.
Although it's positive in the way that it can spread good content and it can really get the message across.
Spreading of resources absolutely has helped.
Can also help you share your voice and allow you to be heard.
Calling people to action for people to be more aware that are not aware.
Make people more aware of racism.
Making people more aware of what racism is, what cultural appropriation is, and teaching people about it.
Now there's video evidence, there's proof.
I think racism is now a lot more prevalent as well, though, because people have a platform.
Racism, I think, has definitely gotten worse through a lot of social media posts.
Racially insensitive posts.
People can say whatever they want behind a screen without actual punishment.
There are so many users who aren't kind or who aren't positive with their words, and it's very detrimental to our society.
I've been exposed to a lot through being on social media.
Explicit physical content.
Tons of explicit content, whether that's a naked girl,
A lot of like pornographic images.
Violence.
Blood.
Gore,
fights in school posted online.
animals being abused.
Anybody with an account can just see, search up, be exposed to.
Had I not ever been on social media, I would have never been exposed to most of the things that I've been exposed to.
Social media has and will always have a more negative impact on my mental health.
It was detrimental to the way I viewed myself, the way I looked at my friends.
I was actually diagnosed with depression around age 14.
I have personally been diagnosed with both depression and anxiety.
I have friends that do have both anxiety and depression. My sister has depression, and I know that social media makes it worse.
Definitely been able to see people super close to me who their depression has been caused by what they've seen on social media.
I have experienced anxiousness being on social media for a long period of time.
Because we live in a digital age, our generation specifically doesn't know anything else. They don't know what life was like before social media or what life was like before technology.
The ability to hear about something happening on the other side of the world within a second's notice is such a heavy weight that we bear.
I think that is probably the main factor that has contributed to the increase in anxiety and depression in our generation, Generation Z.
If I could go back and not have gone on any social media, I would absolutely choose that option.
So having a platform like social media is a privilege, and it's something that we all need to understand.
You have that platform, and it's a platform that you should use.
Use your social media wisely. Use it for good. Don't hurt people.
If I can cut back on what I'm posting to help someone else feel a little bit better, it's worth it.
Take a break from your phones. Enjoy real life in the moment.
Social media is a great place to connect with friends and update them on how you're doing, but ultimately, our friendships should exist outside of social media.
I think that's something that we all need to recognize is the power we hold in our silly little devices every day. And that's something that we take for granted because it is free.
Take it with a grain of salt because people only post the best. They make themselves look the best. At the end of the day, social media is not all that.
Will people remember you by the way that you face-tuned a picture and the way that the sunlight just captured your skin? Or will they remember you by the kindness that you shared apart from the screen?
Social media is a gift, but it's a gift that's abused.
In the end, I am not advocating for you to delete all your social media accounts or to completely get offline. My message is simply to bring awareness to the women of Generation Z about the repercussions social media has on our social lives and how it affects our mental and physical health. This is an important social justice issue because the technology we as humans have created now has the power to control us. We have even allowed social media to predict and influence our life decisions, like how we identify ourselves, how we choose what to wear, who we pick as our friends, and even where we stand politically. This technology has morphed us into a generation that is more greedy, narcissistic, jealous, deceitful, provocative, petty, insensitive, and disrespectful. It is time to take the reins over this wonderful yet powerful tool that we call social media and start to use it for good. So how can you make a change and gain freedom over social media? Well, for one, take healthy intermittent breaks. Enjoy real life in person rather than through a screen. Set boundaries and reduce your screen time. Spend your time doing more productive activities. Share information wisely. Always check a source if you see something related to the news, and don't let strangers freely access your personal information. And turn off all of your notifications. We can demand that social media be created humanely to protect our overall mental and physical health, but changing your behaviors to have a healthy relationship with social media first begins with you.